Welcome back. Today I have kind of a part 2 to my model airplane collecting beginner's guide. Today I have 5 tips for all of you collectors out there. It's not just for the beginners, also for everyone else collecting model airplanes. Starting off with tip number 1, it's quality over quantity. Now with quality, I don't just mean the quality of the airplane, if it's a good mold, if the painting is good, like the things I cover in my reviews, but also the use for your airport or for your collection. Like I remember when I started off model airplane collecting, I didn't really have in mind to start a collection. I was just looking at model airplanes because I had a few back in the day when I was little. So I started looking at some new models, and first I looked at new models, Gemini jets and NG models, and I just saw the prices and I was like, wow, those are expensive. So I started looking on eBay and I found this Continental 757 that I liked. It was very cheap. I got it for 20 bucks including shipping, and yeah. The second model I got was also a 757, this time a -300 from Northwest. Again, it was I think around 25 or maybe 30 bucks, so also very cheap for a 1:400 scale model. Now the problem with it was that I already kind of had in mind the idea of starting a airport, and I could just not use those models really because those two airlines, of course, do not fly anymore. Northwest, I think, is a part of Delta now, and Continental, of course, has merged with United. So I was there with those two models that were fairly cheap, but I could not really use them for my airport. Now the first model I got that I could actually use for my airport was the Swiss 777 by Phoenix. Now this was about as expensive as both of the first models together, but it was absolutely worth it. I can use it for my collection. It's a newer model. It is absolutely amazing with all the detail it has, the antennas, the rolling landing gear. It's just great. It's a great model. Now I do not regret buying the first two models. I really like those. The 757 is still my favorite aircraft of all time, but I cannot use them for my collection, so looking back I would probably have spent this money on just one model that I could have actually used for my collection. So I went online and kinda went through the sale models on the airplane shop, and this Trident was on sale for 20 bucks. Also for 20 bucks you can get this MD-11 from World Airways, I think it's called, and one Vision 737-400. Now those are all airlines that do not fly anymore, I think, and they're just not very popular models that you could not really use on any airport. So for 60 bucks you can have those three models. They're nothing special, as I said, they're just regular models that you can probably not use for your airport or your collection unless you maybe like the way they look or you have a personal connection to them. But for the same $60 you could get this brand new Gemini Jets 747-8 from Lufthansa. Now for me it's very clear I would get the Lufthansa. You will not have as many models as you could get if you always go for the cheapest ones, but you will have quality models that you can actually use for your collection. So I highly recommend you go buy a little bit more expensive, a little bit better models than just the cheapest ones you can find online. You will not regret it. So tip number 2 is before you actually buy the model, always go on the internet and do some research on that actual model. Like for example, if you want to get a Phoenix 777, then go on the internet or on YouTube, watch some reviews on Phoenix 777s, make sure that they don't have a bad repetition, that they don't come broken a lot of times. Like for example with the Gemini A320 molds, I would stay away from those. because a lot of times they arrive broken at people's homes. Now, I've never had any model arrive broken to my place, but I've heard from a lot of people that the A320s from Gemini jets are not as good, so I'd probably stay away from them. Yeah, but just in general, before you buy any model, definitely go online and do some research on that specific mold, on that model, on that brand. Tip number 3 is always try to buy your models brand new, like from an actual retailer. And I know at the beginning it might be tempting to go on eBay, buy some second-hand models because they're cheaper. And yeah, for example, I went through the Gemini Jets, the airplane shop, it's called, the shop from Gemini Jets. I went through their store, looked at some models, and as you can see, they're between 40 and 60 bucks, so they're really not that cheap. But trust me when I say it is better to buy them a little bit more expensive but brand new than buy a second-hand model and get a broken model, for example. The main problem with buying off eBay or from someone on Instagram or on the internet, just a second-hand model, is most of the times you will not have the chance, if the model arrives broken or there's just something wrong with it, most of the times you don't have the chance to like get a replacement or get your money back. And if you buy it from a actual model airplane store, you will actually, most of the time you get the chance. If the model is broken or something, you can get your money back or at least get a replacement. Of course, I have also bought off of eBay or Instagram before. For example, I have bought from a good friend of mine over Instagram, Airports of the World. He was in the last edition of this video. He was featured. I bought a few models off him, and with him I just knew that he was trustworthy, that I was going to get a good model in great condition. So that's why I bought from him. So you can buy off eBay or from some people online. Just really make sure that they're trustworthy and that you're gonna get a good quality model. Tip number 4 is try to keep your models as new as possible or just in as good condition as possible. Try to keep the brand new feeling. I'm gonna show you what I mean with that by opening up my Swiss A330-300. Just make sure that the packaging is not broken, that you don't throw away anything off the packaging, especially like you will see underneath this model there is a little piece of plastic, a very thin foil. Now I used to throw them away, but then I realized I should actually keep that. That is not for your, well, the reason for that, for keeping everything intact, of course the model as well, but also the packaging, is if you ever want to sell your models, you will it will have way more value. Like there might be a point where you want to get rid of your collection, or if you just want to sell one specific model that you don't need anymore for your airport or for your collection, then it is way easier to sell it if you actually still have everything looking brand new. So tip number 5 is the last one, of course, and it is go ahead and make yourself a model airplane or just aviation Instagram account where you can post some pictures of your model airplanes, because there will probably be at one point you will probably kind of lose the motivation to keep going with your airport, for example, or your collection. And if you can post the pictures of your models of your airport, you will get some positive feedback, some comments from people that like your stuff, which will really give you the motivation to keep going. And also I think model airplane collecting is like not the most common hobby, and maybe you will feel a little awkward if you do collect model airplanes. Like most of your friends will probably not be interested in this stuff at all. And if you find some people that have like the same hobby with model airplane collecting, it will really make it a lot easier for you to keep going. You can talk with someone about it, because your parents or your girlfriend will probably not want to talk with you, about your airplanes 24/7. So if you have an Instagram account, you can go talk to some people that are actually interested in this stuff, and it will just be a very, very nice thing for you. There are a lot of very nice people that I met on Instagram since I started. And yeah, I don't regret making my Instagram and this YouTube channel. It is very, very fun being a part of this community. Now, before I end this video, I have one more request. Please, if you have any tips for any model airplane collectors out there, please let me know down below in the comments, and maybe I can do a part 2 with another 5 or more tips for model airplane collectors that I did not cover in this video. With that said, I want to thank you very, very much for watching this video. I really hope you could take something away from it, that you learned something new today. Yeah, anyway, have a very, very good day. See you next time. Goodbye.